Boom! Now that that's over with, here are some ways to learn faster and study more efficiently. Right. Some more coffee. What? Do you think that 1 cup of coffee a day is enough? No. That is not how we roll here in Finland. The minimum is like 5 cups a day. That's the fun fact for today. Woo! What was the topic? Oh yes, how to learn faster and study efficiently. Let's go.
Techniques.
Pomodoro. Pomodoro technique. Super simple technique for time management. Step 1, set a task which you can achieve in 25 minutes. Step 2, set a timer to 25 minutes. Step 3, work rigorously for 25 minutes. Step 4, take a 5-minute break. And that's it! That is the way to manage your time. And then after 4 tomatoes, so in 2 hours, take a longer, let's say 15-minute break. But don't take like 4-hour breaks. So don't study 2 hours and then be like, yep, it's time for a 4.5-hour break. Also, create a pre-ritual that you go through every time you start a new Pomodoro. An example would be 1. Get a snack and some water. 2. Take a bathroom break. 3. Turn off all electronic devices that you don't need. 4. Put on your noise-canceling headphones if you have those. 5. Set the timer and set the task. SQ3R technique. This technique creates a framework for your reading. Simple as that. First, survey. Take a few minutes to scan the entire text. Pay attention to graphs, pictures, subheadings, headings. This way you create an overview of the chapter. 2, question. Ask yourself questions about the text you just scanned. For instance, you can turn the chapter titles or the subheadings into questions. And nowadays, when you read an educational textbook, at the end of the chapter, there's usually questions prepared for you, so utilize those. 3, read. Start reading and keep the structure of the chapter in mind. And this does not mean passive reading. No. We hate passive reading. Instead, try to find the answers to the questions you wrote down in the previous step. That way you create an active reading process. 4, recite. Repeat aloud what you have just read, what you have learned from the text. Explain it to someone else. And you can also make a summary of what you learned. 5, review. After a few days, perhaps even weeks, go through your answers again, scan through the text, do everything you need to do to remember the answers you provided and the questions you wrote down. That's that. So survey, question, read, recite, and review. Simple. And then finally, Feynman technique or method or way of learning. Step 1, study for a while, like read a chapter. Step 2, try to summarize. Try to summarize. Need more coffee. I need more coffee. Oh yes. Step 2, summarize what you've read or learned, and every time you struggle to continue that summary, make a note of it. When you just can't continue writing that summary, you know that, well, I need to do some work with that part. And then step 3, go back to the parts you struggled with, and only those parts. And after you've done that, write the summary again. And if you don't have any problem parts anymore, you are done. You already know that stuff. You're golden.
Applications or apps.
This is gonna be rapid fire. Was that too fast? Alright, let's slow it down a bit. So, Evernote. No introduction needed. Next. Quizlet. Create flashcards, games, learning tools, and all those beautiful things to learn the specifics, the listings, the details of what you're learning. Xmind. A mind mapping software with amazing features. Brainly. A social network for learners. You ask a question, you get an answer. Freedom. Block out all distracting websites and apps.
Duolingo.
Learn any language in no time for free. Exam countdown lights. Create positive pressure with visual countdowns for your exams. Like, how cool is that? Every time you look at your phone, you're like, oh, I have an exam in 1 week. I haven't read at all. I'm so screwed. And positive pressure. Forest. Increase your focus by planting and growing trees. Oh well. Focus booster. It's like a digital version of the Pomodoro or the tomato technique. And you can also keep track of your study time. That's that. Gadgets.
Okay, then a few gadgets you can use to enhance your studying. First up, a timer. Always use a timer to time your work and rest. You could use a manual timer or a smart watch, but I wouldn't use a phone because it can be quite distracting. Second, paper tablet. This right here is called a Remarkable. It is the only digital device that feels like paper and it has no distractions. You can't use social media, you have no email, you have no notifications. It's just you and your thoughts. I have all my study notes right here and then you can organize them in folders and all that. And it feels like paper. It is like paper. Look at that. Look at that. Woo! Next up, noise cancelling headphones. These beautiful things are a must. You can go anywhere, put these on, and you can start studying efficiently. Like you can hear nothing at all. And finally, I didn't quite think this through, but proper lighting or lamp. This here is the Sunflex InLight. You can use that or any other light, but the point is that you should use a light that has a color temperature
Of over 4,000 kelvins.
It's over 9,000!
because that mimics the natural sunlight and keeps you awake. Right, let's move on.
General tips.
Work backwards or study backwards. Create some sort of a question or a problem that you want to tackle by learning or by studying. In other words, do not study and then turn to problems. No. Instead, whenever possible, first create the problem and then study to solve that problem. It makes your studying so much more practical and you are more efficient. You learn a lot faster. Then teach others. Because first, it forces you to synthesize all the knowledge into manageable chunks that other people can understand. Second, it acts as a repetition. When you teach it to someone else, you learn it twice. Also, use old test papers. By practicing old exam papers, you get an understanding of what is required in the test. Your studying becomes more problem-centric. And finally, you'll be able to pinpoint the areas that you still struggle with. If you really want to be efficient, turn off Wi-Fi
and mobile data.
So first, download all the materials you need for studying and then just turn off Wi-Fi and mobile data. It does wonders to your productivity. And finally, this might sound a bit odd. It is a bit odd. I use it because I'm a bit odd. But try hiding all the clocks around you. Because when you don't know the time, it can be easier to focus on what you're reading and then ultimately reach that flow state that many of us are looking for nowadays. So, apparently my time is up. So I'll see you pretty soon. Goodbye. Go study. Go be unlazy, right? All right. This is gonna be awkward, but I'll see you. By the way, I've created a voting page. You can now vote on the next challenge I should tackle. You can also submit your craziest ideas there. And yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Please go to unlazyway.com/voting and then give me your vote, please. Okay, thanks. This didn't go as planned.